Welcome to the Panic Button, everybody. I'm Nina. Now, today I want to talk about Kamala. Before I begin, I want to apologize. I'm still coming down from the medications from the dentist. And it's because I had to have my dental implants checked, and I have to get a few of them removed because they didn't take, and I need new ones put in. I've been going through this for 4 years, so it's been a very interesting journey. I've had all of my teeth removed with the exceptions of 6, and I have 16 dental implants right now. So if you guys want me to go over that in another video, the process of having your teeth removed and getting dental implants put in and all that fun stuff, I'll do a video on that if you want to comment below and let me know if it's a good video to do. With that in mind, comment below. Like this video, subscribe, share it. Please comment because it helps the algorithm to boost this channel. That'd be great. Thank you. Anyway, I wanted to talk about Kamala because of this. I saw her on the Call Her Daddy podcast. I only saw clips of it. I didn't want to watch the whole thing because I heard from the lady who runs it that it was going to be about women's rights. And when it comes to Kamala, that's what she talks about the most, right? Women's rights, right to an abortion, blah, blah, blah. I'm cool with that, man. Cool with women's rights and the right to choose. What I ain't cool with is her hypocrisy. See, because if she was the party and the president for women's rights, she's got a lot of explaining to do. You see, because this is the same woman who said that everybody should have the right to transition, even inmates. And when she's talking about inmates, she's talking about men who think they're women. She also is cool with trans women being in female prisons. So biological men being in female prisons. Now, what do we know about biological men in prisons? Well, we know the majority of them are in there for violent crimes. What do we know about women who are in prison? They're not in there for violent crimes. Majority of them are not. So Kamala is cool with guys who have murdered, dismembered women. She's cool with allowing these guys into women's prisons. So what happens in women's prisons? Well, you gotta have condoms on hand because there's a lot of pregnancy happening in women's prisons now because of this. So if this lady was for the rights of women, would she really allow men who are obviously mental to go into women's prisons where these women are sexually harassed, assaulted? And then I thought it kind of makes sense why she's so gung-ho on abortion, because she's allowing women to get raped in prison, so they need the abortions, obviously, which I found kind of fucked up. Okay, really fucked up. It's really fucked up. So why is she the woman who is for women's rights? You know, she never really talks about anything else when it comes to women's rights, but the abortion thing, because it's the only thing she has. And my mind is completely boggled by the fact that no one, even Trump, has even asked her the simplest of questions, which is, can you define what a woman is? I'm really surprised nobody has asked her that. You'd think they would. And what would her answer be? Anyone who identifies as a woman. So she's not only for women's rights, she's for biological men's rights too. And those rights seem to trump, no pun intended, the rights of biological women. See, because this lady doesn't really care about women. She doesn't. So what's going on here? How can you be the party of women and do this? And why the fuck hasn't anyone called her out on it? You think that they would have. I mean, it's such a blatant hypocrisy on her part, and yet no one has taken the time to be like, yo, can you explain to me what a woman is first before you talk about women's rights? These women didn't get the right to choose to not have men in their spaces, men who have been violent against women. You didn't give them the right to choose. The only time they get a right to choose is when they've been raped by the man that you've allowed into the prison. That's pretty fucked up, Kamala. Not to mention the millions of illegals coming into the country. Majority of them are young men. And what do we know about young men? Young men we don't know who aren't from this country. We don't know a lot. And that's scary. specifically for women. Because a lot of these guys could possibly be, and if we're talking statistically, a good percentage of them are going to be rapists, people who sexually assault, people who commit crimes, etc., etc. And those crimes are majority of the time going to be against women. So, once again, she's not for women's rights, she's for abortion only. Which, once again, I'm cool with if you weren't allowing for all the other fucked up shit that's happening against women, which she is. So, she's allowing these men into the country, and at the same time, they're saying that, hey, illegals commit less crime than Americans do. So why are you blaming them for coming into the country and creating crime? They commit less crime. It's like, okay. But a good percentage of them do commit and have committed crimes, right? So if that is the case, let's say that out of all the illegal immigrants who have come into the country illegally, let's say, giving her the ridiculous benefit of the doubt, that only 2% of those millions of people are criminals, are going to do bad things to people. Well, that is 2% of crimes that we would have never had, unnecessary crimes that would have never happened if that bitch wouldn't have allowed the border to stay open, if she would have actually done her job and, closed it, kept bad people out of our country. But she didn't. No. What'd she do instead? She blamed Trump for not getting that bill, the border bill, signed. Well, if you've ever read the border bill, there's one thing that you should know for certain, and that's in the bill, they're allowing money to go to different countries. They're also allowing people who came here illegally, who are criminals because they came here illegally, automatically are criminal. They are allowing them to have citizenship in this country. So the people who are illegally here, that bill would give them amnesty. Do we know who these people we'd be giving amnesty to are? No. We know they're not all murderers, but we know that some of them are. So you are giving amnesty, money, hotel rooms, food stamps, welfare checks to a certain percent of criminals. Meanwhile, there are people on our streets, veterans, who are homeless, have nowhere to go, have problems, are struggling, and they get jack shit. These illegal immigrants get more help than people in America who didn't commit a crime, who fought for our country. So I don't understand how people can actually believe that this woman is not only for women's rights, but she's against illegal immigration. What? While at the same time saying that, yeah, it's a good thing that we give illegal immigrants in this country, especially if they're in prison, sex changes. I mean, this is all over the place. I don't understand her. What are you doing, Kamala? She's reading from the script. I don't really think she actually has a brain. I'm not sure if she actually thinks before she speaks or if she's just memorizing talking points. She's memorizing a script. So before I end this video, I wanted to play a clip from the Call Her Daddy podcast, which Kamala was on. All right.
Rally in Pennsylvania, former President Trump recently told women, "You will be protected and I will be your protector." What do you make of that?
So he who, when he was president, hand-selected 3 members of the United States Supreme Court with the intention that they would undo the protections of Roe v. Wade. And they did just as he intended. And there are now 20 states with Trump abortion bans, including bans that make no exception for rape or incest, which we just discussed, which means that you're telling a survivor of a crime, of a violation to their body, they don't have a right to make a decision about what happens to their body next.
Oh, Kamala. You know that women in prison who are housed with men, they don't have a right to speak out. They don't have a right to bodily autonomy when you're putting a rapist in women's prisons. They don't have a say. They don't have rights.
Which is immoral. So
Immoral. Let's talk about immoral. Letting a whole bunch of people into our country illegally. So that's already strike one. You cut in line from a whole bunch of people who want to do it legally, and they're giving aid to these people while they're saying F you to the Americans who actually need help. Saying, sorry, we just don't have the money to help you.
This is the same guy that is now saying that. This is the same guy who said that women should be punished for having abortions.
And yet, can't identify what a woman is. I think she's a detriment to women. Kamala is making women more unsafe than Trump is. I know that's surprising as all hell. I was surprised too. But when I listened to her say things like this, and then I listened to her say things that completely contradict that, well, I'm calling bullshit. You're not really for women. Because you prefer the men and their safety and comfort over the comfort of biological women. Unless those biological women want to terminate their pregnancy. Hey guys, that's all I have to say about that. She drives me crazy. She's a giant hypocrite. And I have no respect for this woman. I might not like Trump, the shit that he says and the shit that he does. But by golly, at least he knows what a woman is. I'm going to go for that guy. And I'm a lesbian. I voted for Biden last time, but not this time. No. I have to vote for Trump because this shit right here ain't gonna fly. Anyway, that's all I'm gonna say about that. Go away now.
Not trying to be mean, not trying to be cruel. We've been through some shit. Could you relate to some shit? And if you couldn't, I'll be prudent just to tell you. If you aren't understanding, you have to give it to